All right, let's dive right into one of the most counterintuitive, just weird puzzles in all of human sexuality. It's a question that has really baffled people for a long, long time.
I mean, really think about that for a second. The idea of a rival, someone competing for your partner, that should be the ultimate threat to your relationship, right? You'd think it would trigger jealousy, maybe anger, a desire to get away. But for a whole lot of people, it triggers the exact opposite, intense arousal.
So, what's going on here? Is this some kind of malfunction in our wiring? A weird quirk of modern life? Or, and this is the interesting part, what if this surprising response isn't a mistake at all? What if it's actually an ancient program running exactly as it was designed to? That's what we're going to dig into right now. To really crack this puzzle, we have to look at it through the lens of evolutionary psychology. See, this isn't just about what people are into today. This is about uncovering a deep biological script that's been running in the background for, well, millions of years.
And to find our first big clue, we actually have to look beyond humans. We need to look at the rest of the animal kingdom. Because it turns out the fight for reproduction doesn't just stop when the act of mating is over. Oh no, it gets way more interesting after that.
And that brings us to this really key idea. Back in 1970, a biologist named Jeff Parker came up with what he called Sperm Competition Theory. He figured out that for any species where a female might mate with more than one male, the real battle isn't just about getting access to her. The competition continues, literally inside the female's body. It's like a microscopic race where millions of sperm from different guys are all competing for the exact same prize.
And you can literally see this theory written on the bodies of our closest relatives. I mean, look at chimpanzees. They live in groups where there's a ton of mating competition. And what happened? They evolved absolutely enormous testicles to produce a huge amount of sperm. Now contrast that with gorillas. One dominant male pretty much has exclusive access, so there's very little competition. And their testicles? They're tiny. So where do humans fit in? Well, we're right there in the middle, which tells you something really important about our ancestors. There was just enough competition to leave a permanent mark on our biology.
Okay, so let's bring it back home. How does this history of some but not crazy high sexual competition actually show up in us, in modern humans? Well, the evidence, it turns out, is it's all over the place. Our own anatomy tells the story. Evolution is pretty efficient. It doesn't really do things for no reason. So when you look at certain features of the human male reproductive system, they really only make sense if you assume there was some level of sperm competition going on. Let's just look at a few of these. Get this. Research by a guy named Gordon Gallup suggests the very shape of the human penis might be designed not just to deliver semen, but to scoop out arrivals. Then there's the seminal fluid itself, which can actually form a temporary plug, maybe to block any competitors. And why so much sperm? Hundreds of millions per shot? Well, it's not overkill. It's just preparing for a brutal race where almost everybody loses. But it's not just about the static hardware, right? Our bodies also respond to the situation in real time. It's like we're shifting from the physical design to the live software that's reacting to threats and opportunities as they happen. And this is where it gets really wild. Research by Robin Baker and Mark Bellis discovered that a man's body automatically, unconsciously, adjusts its output. The longer a couple is apart, which means, evolutionarily speaking, the higher the risk that she might have been with someone else, the more sperm is in the ejaculate when they get back together. The body is literally gearing up for a fight without you even thinking about it. And look, this isn't just some abstract biological fact that has no connection to how we feel. It lines up perfectly with human psychology. The researcher Justin Lemiller found that a whopping 58% of men have fantasized about their partner being with another man. So this isn't some rare niche thing. It's a really common fantasy that taps directly into these ancient competitive circuits. So this all raises another question, right? If this response is all about competition, where does jealousy fit in? You'd think jealousy would just take over and shut everything else down. But its role is, well, it's a lot more complicated and honestly way more interesting. The legendary evolutionary psychologist David Buss says that jealousy isn't just some simple negative feeling we get. Nope, he calls it a sophisticated psychological mechanism. Think of it like an alarm system that evolution built to protect our reproductive interests. But the fascinating part is what that alarm actually makes us do. And here's the kicker. Jealousy is kind of like a double agent. Its first job, function 1, is prevention. It motivates you to guard your mate, to stop infidelity from ever happening. But If that fails, if a rival is already on the scene, the whole system can pivot. The exact same cues that trigger jealousy can then flip a switch and trigger competitive arousal. The mission changes from prevent to compete. It's now about outcompeting the rival sperm.
Okay, so let's put all these pieces together. We've got the physical tools for competition, we have the body's real-time automatic responses, and we have this dual-function emotional system with jealousy. When you put them all together, our original puzzle starts to look less like a puzzle and more like a perfectly logical, if a bit surprising, program.
And this is where the rubber really meets the road. Researchers like Todd Shackelford have documented what's sometimes called the reclaiming urge. That powerful, almost immediate desire for sex with your partner right after they've been with someone else, that's not just a feeling. That is the evolutionary program firing on all cylinders, motivating the exact behavior that would give you the best shot at winning that sperm competition.
And there it is. That's our answer. The arousal that seems so strange and paradoxical. It's not a flaw in the system. It's not a glitch. It's our ancient evolutionary software designed for the high-stakes game of reproduction, running exactly as intended. It's a feature, not a bug. Which kind of leaves you with one last thing to think about. If this deep, ancient programming for sexual competition is still so powerfully shaping our desires and our behaviors today, what other ancient programs are running under the surface, influencing our modern lives in ways we don't even begin to realize?